Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam. तशरीफ रखें.
Thank you so much, sir.
Mr. Zulqarnain Saleem Wattu,
Yes, sir.
a doctor by profession. Good
Yes,
to have you with us.
Thank you so
How
much.
are you,
sir.
beta?
I'm good, sir.
Would you want to tell the panel who are the Wattus?
Sir, Wattus, it is a tribe that is based in the area that is near Satluj River. And they are economically they are engaged in farming, and according to traditions of history, they were primarily based in India, but later on they migrated towards the bank of Satluj, and they are engaged in farming over there since then. And it happened around 300 years back. And and currently they are settled in areas of in those areas of Punjab, like such as Okada, Bahawalnagar,
Okay, and a lot of
Bahawalpur.
Wattus are in politics also.
Yeah,
Why? Has it become a kind of family profession or tribal profession or what?
A few of them are, but basically, as we all know, in Pakistan, the people vote on the basis of clan, and there is a trend of patron-client relationship. So the prominent among the family, they contest for elections, and a few manage to win as well.
Beta, in my humble opinion, the greatest service that one can do to humanity is by becoming a doctor.
No doubt, sir.
You are already in this profession. They say service to humanity is worship to God. So you are, in a manner of speaking, already worshipping God. Why is it that you want to switch professions?
No doubt, sir, medicine is really a great profession, and I'm proud of being a doctor. But the problem is, sir, currently I don't feel accomplished. Like, there are a few things. I'm very happy treating the patient. I'm very happy when the attendant of the patient admire us for saving the lives of patient. But I don't feel accomplished. For instance, there are
Why not? If you save a life, wouldn't you have get a sense of accomplishment?
because there are certain things about which I can't do anything being a doctor, and that bothers me a lot. That's why I want to switch my profession. For instance, I would like to quote a few examples over here. For instance, when there are unavailability of beds for the patient, and when I see the suffering patient who could not get bed in the hospital, it hurts. It bothers me. And being a doctor, I can't do anything about it. When my mother's, who is a teacher, who tells me that a few of her colleagues are not coming to the hospital, schools, and they're getting paid being a doctor, I can't do anything about that. That's why I want to
All
switch
right.
my career.
All right. Why is it better that in the past history of the country, for the last 73 years, all the governments, without exception, have been neglecting the health sector? There has never been enough budget allocation for this important sector. Why is that so, and what needs to be done in this regard?
No doubt, sir, you are absolutely right that health is a neglected sector. For instance, according to the reports, around 4% of GDP is being spent on health, while in developed countries, around 10 to 15% has been allocated to health. It is because of misplaced priorities of Pakistan. And I personally believe that Pakistan obsession with security related matters is the primary cause that health sector is neglected. Like, we are spending around 25% of our budget on the defense, while in 21st century the security is not measured in term of hard security, but in term of soft security, and health is a primary pillar of that. We need to change our priorities. Moreover, the amount which is spent, it is not adequately being spent. For instance, Pakistan need to spend more on preventive health, while 80% of budget goes to this curative
All
health.
right.
So,
Let's move on.
okay, sir.
Better, you opted for political science and geography as two of your subjects.
Yes, sir.
What were the conditions under which Machiavelli wrote The Prince?
Yes, sir. If I recall my knowledge of political science, I believe that it was 16th century Italy, when Italy was divided into small city states, and there was no unity among those city states, and those city states used to fight among themselves. So that made Machiavelli to write a book, and many historians believe that it was written to help that leader of that time, that how he can unite those states and can rule
Okay,
adequately.
the book is actually a letter addressed to the ruler of his state.
Yes, sir.
The end justifies the means. This is what is said about Machiavellian politics.
Yes, sir.
What is your take on this?
Sir, I believe that I don't completely agree with the statement that the end justifies the mean, because being an idealist, semi-idealist, I believe that the ends should also be right as well as the means.
All right, geography भी पढ़ा है आपने.
Ji, sir.
Can you name the seven wonders of the world?
I'm sorry, sir.
You can't.
I have no clue about it.
Bete, what is meant by Greenwich Mean Time?
Sir, basically it is an imaginary line that is running through the London and at the Royal Observatory in the Greenwich, through which is used as a reference line for calculating the time around the world. For the world is divided, the globe is divided vertically into 24 lines, and one if person moves to east of the Greenwich, 1 hour is added, plus one is added to standard time, while if the person moves towards left, 1 hour is removed from that time.
Last question from my side. Who are the Aborigines?
Sir, I'm not sure about that, but I guess these were the people who were residing, who were the basic inhabitants of Australia before the Europeans colonized that area.
Yeah, that's right. They are still there, very much there, although some of them are still being denied their basic rights.
Yes.
Thank you. Please, over to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You have just mentioned your favorite personality as Abdul Staridi.
Yes, sir.
Why you have preferred him as compared to Qaid-e-Azam?
Sir, Qaid-e-Azam no doubt is unmatchable if we look at our history. But I preferred Abdul Star Idir because he has served the humanity by going out of the way. He had done a lot for the humanity, like the abandoned humans whose families did not even care for them. He used to take them and provide them shelter, food, as well as hospital.
Don't you think that Qaid-e-Azam also served humanity, Muslims of this area, by creating Pakistan?
No doubt, sir. There is, as I already stated, that there is no match between Qaid-e-Azam. He is an unprecedented leader, but I preferred Abdustar Hidi for his humane works, or his work for his services he rendered to humanity.
Okay. I want to draw your attention to a quotation of an economist, a renowned economist, Alfred Marshall, who said the best capital is the one which is invested in human beings. How do you correlate this statement with the economy of Pakistan, especially with regard to investment in human beings?
No doubt, sir. I completely agree with the statement that the best capital or the best money is that which is being spent on human, and if we compare Pakistan with the Western world or the Nordic countries, what they are doing, why they are developed, why they are happy. If we look in the happiness index, Nordic countries tops because they are investing in the people. And how do we invest in the people? By providing them education, by providing them food, and by providing them basic security of food, clothes, and other such thing. And if we do that, eventually country becomes developed. But this area has been neglected in Pakistan if we look in the context of Pakistan in the past. But the Vision 2025 policy clearly mentions that human development will be prime priority of Pakistani government. However, the implementation gap stays which is
How much Pakistan is spending on education sector?
so according to recent statistic, around 4.2% of the GDP is being spent on education, and that includes since education is now a provincial subject after 18th Amendment, and this data is calculated after adding upon the data of all provinces. And if we divide that data into provinces, Punjab spends around 6%, Balochistan around 2%, Sindh around 4.4%, and KPA spend around.
Okay. Tell me something about this important project of CPEC. Why it's so important, especially for Pakistan?
So CPEC, I believe CPEC is really important for Pakistan on multiple levels, on economic level, on diplomatic level, and political and social level. And we can have a check on its importance by comparing since CPEC is projects are ongoing, we can compare current situation with what was happening in Pakistan before 2015 when CPEC was initiated. Nobody was willing to invest in Pakistan. Pakistan was investment dry country. It was cash strapped and it was going multiple deficit at multiple level. It provided at economic level. It provided an investment portfolio investment of 64 billion US dollar in Pakistan. After, if we compare it before 2015, nobody was willing to invest in Pakistan. It provided an investment opportunity for Pakistan. 64 billion rupees, US dollar had been invested in Pakistan as portfolio investment. Secondly, at economic level, it will allow Pakistan to emerge as transaction economy. Central Asian states and Afghanistan and even India, who don't have direct access to water, warm waters, will get an opportunity to transact, to make transactions through Pakistan. Also, there is quite an at economic level there is quite an
Don't
opportunity.
you think the risks involved in CPEC are more as compared to the benefits?
So I don't believe I don't think so, because it has provided multiple opportunities to Pakistan and benefits outweigh the risk. Uh, for instance, if we compare at political level, it is focusing on the underdeveloped areas of Pakistan. Like in Balochistan, more industries would be set up, and the youth, which are already disgruntled, they will be brought back to national mainstream. So I
Okay, just last question. How do you compare Plato and Aristotle's philosophy?
Sir, Plato, he was an idealist, while the Aristotle, who was his student, is also called as ungrateful student because of his difference with Plato, who because Aristotle himself was a political realist, and he analyzed politics on scientific ground. That is why he is known as first political scientist of the history.
Who is known as father of realism?
Sir, uh, I'm sorry, I have no idea about that.
Okay, thank you.
Hassan Iqbal.
Mr. Zulqarnain, what do we mean by single national curriculum, and what efforts government of Pakistan has made to implement single national curriculum?
Sir, single national curriculum, it means that a single syllabus should be there that should be read across the Pakistan in all schools, because currently the education of Pakistan education system, according to Mueed Yusuf in the book of Malia Lodi, Beyond the Crisis State, Pakistan curriculum is quite divided. It is segregated there, and that is leading to national disintegration, because there are four cohorts of students. One is madrasa education system, other is government education system, third is cheap private school system, and fourth is expensive private school system, that are public school. And they are teaching
What
different.
steps government have taken by now to implement a single national curriculum in Pakistan?
Sir, currently a policy is in the pipeline to implement that, but there has been problem in the policy, because education itself has become a provincial subject, while a federal minister has stated that single national curriculum, it will soon be like published, and it will be applicable across the Pakistan without any distinction of schools.
Through history and especially the present scenario, we understand that our relations with India are tense. What do you think? What are the major controversial issues due to which our relations with India are strained?
Sir, I believe that Kashmir is the primary problem, but I analyze the situation at different level, because at personal level I believe that it is more of a fight of ego rather than these other problems. If we keep ego out of it, as Chinese Prime Minister who visited Pakistan in 1996 stated that if you keep ego out of your relationship, you both can live happily as a good partner and can have a mutually beneficial
Is
relationship.
it an ego or the interest between the states and the nations to have a relationship? What do you think?
Sir, I believe that interest they can be countries could have good relationship while having diverging interests, like China and Canada. USA and Canada. They are bordering state. They have issues over multiple things, like on motor industries or other such things. They have diverging interests, but they are living like a good neighbors. Similarly, Pakistan and India can bridge those interest differences and can happily live together if they keep ego out of their relationship equation.
We hear a lot of we hear about creation of a province in South Punjab. What do you think? What's the procedure for creating a new province in Pakistan? And can, under the present circumstances, province of South Punjab be created?
So pertaining to first part of your question, what is the procedure? I believe that according to Article 239 of the Constitution of Pakistan, two-third majority of the Federal Assembly, it first have to give uh, a go ahead. Then after one the bill is passed, it have to approved by the Punjab Assembly by two-third majority. Now, coming to your second part of your question, sir, I believe it is not possible right now, because the current government, it does not have adequate majority both at federal and provincial level, so it won't be possible.
But they have made the secretariat also there. What's that phenomenon? What do you think?
Sir, I believe that it is a good step as the things are being streamlined for future making of province, because it will, and it is a good step basically because people will get benefit. For instance, a doctor or teacher who has to come from Rahimi Khan, that is around 800 kilometer away to Lahore, just for a transfer posting, he will definitely get benefit from that secretariat, because he will have to travel only 200 kilometers. It will lead to devolution and
Okay,
efficiency will increase as well.
speak for 2 minutes on relations between Pakistan and Afghanistan.
Okay, sir. Starting from history, Pakistan and Afghanistan, they did not start as a good partner. Despite of being the fact that Pakistan was a Muslim state, Afghanistan was one of those few countries that did not recognize Pakistan. After and there was a problem of Durand line, and they did because they were not recognizing Durand line as international border, and they laid claim on Pakistan Pashtun areas adjacent on Pakistan side that were part of NWFP North
Do they
and FATA.
recognize the Durand line as the international border now?
No, they still don't. Now, going forward, in the first decade, the relationship stayed difficult. In 1960s, during when Zulfikar Ali Bhutto became the foreign minister, things improved, and during Ayub era, but they remained cold. Things continued to like go up and down with transition of government in Afghanistan till 1979.
Okay, last question. On which river we have Trivela Dam?
So I believe it's Indus River.
It is rightly Indus River, but
Yes,
there is no question of guessing.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Zulqarnain Saleem, how do you see the role of international donor agencies, also known as development partners, in Pakistan? First, list a few development partners And in what different forms are they extending assistance to Pakistan? Then your critical appraisal, whether you see they are creating a healthy impact or are you of a different view?
So there are multiple I will answer your question step by step in the arrangement you have asked, sir. And coming to the first part, there are multiple agencies that are operating in Pakistan. They are USAID, British, there is UK Aid, Canadian, and JICA, Japanian. They are also operating in Pakistan. Going forward, what are their impacts? Sir, their impact has been positive and negative, but I believe that their impact has been more negative positive, because they have made Pakistan an aid and donor dependent country. There is no such thing as free lunch, I believe so. When Pakistan is getting something from any country, they bring interest they have their own interest.
Dr. Zulkarnain, let me ask a supplementary question. You see, whatever IMF in the recent bailout package has been prescribing in terms of conditionalities, governance reforms, structural adjustment programs coincides with the thinking and recommendation of our own economist policymakers. Reduce government spending, increase the tax base, revisit some subsidies, give more autonomy to the State Bank of Pakistan, privatize a few state-owned entities which are accruing huge losses. So it makes good sense. So then, how do you see that they are playing a negative role?
Sir, these structural adjustment plan, they had always been there. They are addendum to the loans they give since 1990s. So the question is, did they make an improvement since 1990? No, because it is a foreign solution to a Pakistani problem. What these IMF and international donor or international aid, international loan agencies are doing, they are just making the country dependent by they are giving Western formulas to solve Eastern problems. That is not possible. That's why they have failed. So I believe that problems of Pakistan are unique. They need tailor-made solution based on our history, our culture, our economy. That's only way we can come out of the vicious
With
cycle.
an indigenous roadmap,
Yes, sir. It must be
having
there,
more
sir.
ownership. You have not mentioned different forms of assistance. Loan is one. There are other means of offering assistance.
Yes, sir. Since I am a doctor, I would like to mention what they are doing in the health sector a bit in detail. And it has been mentioned by Dr. Samia Wahid, who works in WHO, in her book, Too Much Aid, Too Little Development. They're sitting in Islamabad and they are making policies about a basic health unit that is in South Punjab. That is, they don't know how much medicine is needed. They're just focusing on conferences, training the employees and other such things. For example, LHW program. They train so many LHWs, ladies, which is ladies health worker in Pakistan, but in the end, it all went wasted because we did not have enough facilities to employ them and to get benefit out of them.
Okay, Dr. Zulkarnain, Pakistan's economy wasn't doing too well even before the onset of this pandemic in the form of COVID 19, which has only aggravated Pakistan's economy. So, how has it adversely affected Pakistan's economy? Number one. And number two, what are some of the steps taken by the government to alleviate the situation?
So no doubt, Pakistan economy had been suffering before the advent of COVID. Like there had been current account deficit of around 7% of the GDP, and debt burden was around 60% of the GDP. So, but the framework, it was being adjusted, like the this our currency rate, it was being adjusted, and gross step had been taken, which had to bring Pakistan's economy in the right direction. COVID totally interrupted that because the focus of government had been shifted from structural adjustment to providing relief to the masses.
Last question from my side. One of your favorite books is World of Three Zeros. How has it added value to your outlook?
So after reading the book, I have strongly come to believe that modernism uh, can provide solution to poverty eradication as well as a life that is not really causing environmental degradation. So it provide a lot of prescription for a world that is not only rich, uh, but also have the wealth that is equitably distributed and that does not degrade the environment.
All right, Dr. Zulqarnain Bhattu, well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Ji sir, now that the interview is over, what are your views about the candidate?
I think, sir, overall, he was smartly dressed and amiable personality with reasonable degree of communication skill, remained focused as far as personality is concerned. But with regard to his knowledge on certain issues, I found him not up to the mark because his answer was not critical and it was also too lengthy. He was just trying to linger on and give too much detail without getting the crux of the answer.
Analytical skills
Analytical
mein lack
skill
kar
was
raha hai.
lacking. So I think he needs to improve a lot. And secondly, I also observed that his knowledge with regard to optional subject, that is also lacking. He couldn't answer questions with regard to, or especially with regard to political science. Overall, I think he is a promising candidate.
Good, thank you.
I think very good appreciation by the honorable member. His communication skills were slightly weak, and obviously the knowledge base was also not broad. To some extent, a sketchy type of knowledge which he exhibited here before the panel. And then there were certain language issues also.
Grammar ke issues uske
Yeah,
kaafi.
that's right. And somewhere he was confident, and during the interview, this was also observed that he lacked confidence also at certain points of time. About knowledge, I would like to agree. And then the stress absorption, somehow I felt that it is on a lower side. So that was another thing, and particularly the leadership and initiative also needed a little more on the part of the candidate.
Thank you.
But I think overall it should be graded between 50 to 60 candidate out of 100.
Above average. Kamran sahab.
Thank you, sir. Despite having some issues in the knowledge base, I think by and large, he handled pressure well, tried to maintain his poise, and on some issues, I found him that he exhibited a mature approach, critical appreciation of issues. But I agree with the colleagues that on some issues, he was not all that knowledgeable. And he maintained good eye contact, posture, uh, gave satisfactory answers, was analytical on some accounts, mature, mentally and emotionally robust, could handle pressure well. I think he could be given a score around 60%.
Thank you. I agree with what has been said. थोड़ा सा मुझे इसका इशू था ड्रेस कोड पे. For example, I never recommend anybody wearing a blue shirt with a brown suit and black socks. They don't create that positive an impression that we expect from a candidate. थोड़ी सी हैंड मूवमेंट भी उसकी एक्सेसिव थी. पोस्चर आपने फरमाया बिल्कुल ठीक था, मैं एग्री करता हूँ. कॉन्फिडेंस उसमें कहीं नज़र आता था, बट जनरली ही वॉज especially in the beginning found to be nervous, and throughout the interview he was sweating profusely. जो चीज़ें हम पसंद नहीं करते कैंडिडेट में, ये नहीं होनी चाहिए. ग्रामेटिकल एरर्स आपने भी पॉइंट आउट किया, मैंने ऑब्जर्व किया था, वो उसमें काफ़ी थे। आई कांटेक्ट बहुत अच्छा था उसका, ही मेंटेन्ड दैट। ऑप्शनल सब्जेक्ट्स में आई डिडंट फाउंड हिम टू कन्विंसिंग। मैकियावेली, उसका पॉलिटिकल साइंस उसने पढ़ा हुआ है, मैकियावेली पे मुझे कन्विंसिंग जवाब नहीं दे सका। प्लेटो एरिस्टोटल का आपने कंपैरिजन पूछा, उस पर नहीं दे सका। ज्योग्राफी उसने पढ़ा है, ही कुडंट आंसर द बेसिक क्वेश्चन अबाउट द 7 वंडर्स ऑफ द वर्ल्ड। ये चीज़ें उसमें खामियां थी, बट आई थिंक आई विल गो विद यू कि अबव एवरेज था, अबाउट 60% मार्क्स तो वो डिजर्व करता था। That I think should be our analysis about the gentleman. Thank you.